Right, so, okay. So, as I said, there are numerous ports of Resident Evil 2. Given the fact this game came out in, I believe it was 98, it had quite a few different versions. First re-release would have been the DualShock version, which would have supported vibration and analog controls. And there was also a mini game called Extreme Battle and a Rookie mode, apparently, with the DualShock US version. So I didn't actually know that. The PC version I do remember. I never played it, but I do remember it including Chris Redfield as one of the playable characters in the. It was kind of like the Mercenaries mode. So that was kind of cool. And a much higher resolution as well at 640 by 440, which is quite cool given the fact that I think the PS2 is something like 240 by I don't know 320. It's a very oh god, turn and run. Bugger. It's quite a low resolution by today's standards. In fact, when I did there's a mode on my TV called Pixel mode, and literally it's. Did I not pick the shotgun up? I did. It's literally it shows you the native resolution of the system, what it actually renders the actual screen size at for the picture, and it's absolutely tiny. So you've got a Dreamcast version of this as well. Dreamcast version is actually quite. In fact, a lot of the Dreamcast games. In fact, I've been watching a lot of Avalanche reviews on YouTube. Another prominent Resident Evil does other stuff as well, but Resident Evil YouTube videos, and he recommended the Dreamcast version, I believe, of Code Veronica, non before the X. There's no X on it, it's just Code Veronica, which came out on the GameCube. And there's a whole story there between why that was Resident Evil 3, and I think most people know that story, so I won't go into it. And Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. So I'm quite looking to get a hold of a Dreamcast because I'm quite curious about a lot of the Dreamcast ports of this. And obviously, this is GameCube as well. You've got Resident Evil 3 Nemesis on Nintendo GameCube. Code Veronica is the other one I'm looking for. But the GameCube games, this one was about £35, so it's not stupidly expensive, but they can get it pricey. Code Veronica gets quite pricey at times, and Code Veronica is kind of the black sheep of the family. I don't know why, because I kind of like Code Veronica. It's quite an interesting game. And Nemesis is one I kind of want on GameCube. I've been doing a lot of collecting on GameCube. Even though obviously they all came out originally on PS1. So, and the most interesting version of this game, though, to play actually is the Nintendo 64 version. That's an absolutely fascinating port, how they managed to port it to the 64. And there even was a Sega Saturn version that sadly was never actually came out. It was cancelled before it was completed, and it was going to use the 4 megabyte RAM cartridge for the Sega Saturn. It's another system, as I said in another video. Sega Saturn and Sega Dreamcast are two systems that are absolutely fascinating to look at and to see, because there's a port of Resident Evil 1 on Saturn, and I'm very interested in trying to pick a copy of that. But as I said in another video, Saturn games are so expensive. Like, we're not just talking like a few pound, or depending on what your regional equivalence is. They are so expensive. There was one I was looking at, which was is it called Deep? Is it Deep Fear I was looking at? Or was that the PS2? There was one. There was a survival horror game, and the PAL version was like 450 quid. If you want the Japanese version, it's dirt cheap. It's not that expensive, but a lot of the oh god damn it, a lot of these games are like Oh, god damn it. No! Just... They're insane, the prices of them, generally. But, I don't know, maybe it's worth it. I don't know. But as I said, so Sega Saturn's is another fascinating port. But the 64 is the one that really... and you need the expansion pack to run it. But that's the one that really is really expensive. And it's again probably the most ambitious port you can find on an N64. So I've just done this a minute ago, and when I didn't pick up the ammo, Brad Vickers actually spawns down here. He only spawns if you don't pick up the. I think is it just the. It might only be the shotgun, or it might not just be the ammo, but he spawns down here because he actually dies in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. And what's ironic is that Nemesis came out in '99, and it's actually set before this game, which I don't know. It's just fascinating. Raccoon City. I'd love to sort of explore it a bit more. And obviously in Nemesis you get to explore it a bit more anyway. And sometimes this will show you a will it? No, not today apparently. But there's quite a few interesting things about this. And the Raccoon City Police Department, it's got to be one of the most iconic sort of video gaming like hub areas you can possibly find. But the Sega Saturn port of Resident Evil 2, apparently there's some rumours of it. It's apparently been some fan-made development or something of it, apparently. So this place is so iconic. And what's even more interesting is in this version of the game, obviously the original Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, Jill actually comes to this station, and even the Nemesis actually stalks her in here, which is just, which is just one of the things they really did miss out on with the remake. When I look at the time I've put into Steam on Resident Evil 2 Remake, I've put in quite a lot of time on it, but Nemesis I didn't put in that much. Unfortunately, I didn't dislike the game, but they cut so much out of the main game that it's just a very I don't want to say bad's the right word, but it's just a very disappointing how much is missing from the game. It had some good aspects as well, for sure, but and I don't understand to this day how they messed the Nemesis up so much. Like, he's just so much scarier in the original game, and even Mr. X in the remake for 2 it's the same blueprint. I just don't understand why they didn't copy the same thing, but I believe it was a different development team that worked on it.
Who are you? Oh, you must be the new guy, Leon. Sorry, but it looks like your party has been canceled. What happened? About 2 months ago, there was this incident involving zombies in a mansion located in the outskirts of this city. Chris and the other STARS members discovered that Umbrella was behind everything. They risked their lives to reveal the truth, but no one believed them. Not long after that, all this started to happen. Hang in there. Don't worry about me. Just rescue the survivors in the other rooms. Here, take this key card. You should be able to unlock the doors in the hall with this. Now go. But just go.
Fine, but I'm coming back for you. Just hold on.
There are some sort of plot holes in between 2 and 3, such as And he locked the door. What a prick. Like Marvin, obviously in this event, obviously he turns eventually, but and I'm talking about the original games, not the remakes. In the in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, but in the fact it's set before this, when you go into that room, Jill finds his body and he's already dead. So there are some. Well, I think that's what it says. It says he's been mortally wounded or something to that degree. So he is technically dead. Which doesn't quite make sense given the fact that it's Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is set like I think it's like 24 hours or 16 hours before the events of this game. And if you look at the intro for that game, like obviously there's like zombies everywhere. It's just absolutely all over the town. And it's right. Do we go to the liquor first, or do we go that way first? I don't have any keys as of yet, and I need to find a save room to. We go this way first. They did a very, very interesting job with the remake though. They did change a lot of things up. The door transitions were really, really cool. The way you just push a door and it would open slowly, and just really, really cool. Ah. I remember playing on the PS1, and I had a cheat device that would plug into the back of the PS1, and it literally it would give you all the best guns at the beginning of the game, which is really, really cool. In fact, let's go there first, actually. So I'm not going to do a full playthrough of this. I'm just going to do a little bit of it because it's so good. And I have had the GameCube version of Resident Evil 2 sat on my shelf for about 6 months, something like that. It's the same with Metroid. Well, I've done a video on Metroid 1, but Metroid 1 and Metroid 2. Oh, and there's about 100 zombies in here, if I remember correctly, as well. And there's a locker. Oh. See if we can take some heads off. That's 2. The biggest improvement with the remake was that zombies are way more of a threat than they are in this. Like, and obviously there's no fixed camera angles. It's over the shoulder, which you would think wouldn't work, but it's actually quite a cool idea, and it does work quite well. It is, but the zombies are way more difficult to. Oh shit. How damaged are we? Caution. Okay. The zombies are way more dangerous to contend with. Right, and that's... I keep pressing the B to do the quick turn, but I keep forgetting there's no quick turn on this game. I don't want to use the herb unless I have to. Uh-oh. This is bad. There's a zombie in there as well. Great. And I'm going to have to use the herb. Oh, wonderful. Right, first things first. That's where I want to go, into that office. So let's take out some of these zombies. In the remake, the zombies are way more of a threat because they sway and stuff back and forth, which makes it really, really difficult to hit them. In fact, in the remake, you're better off actually hitting them in the legs and blowing off their limbs, slowing them down so they can basically you can get them out of the way then. And I also believe the DualShock or the Direct is the DualShock version implements auto aiming. You ain't. Oh, he's dead. Well, even the remake they've done a very good job of the different mixing up the areas a bit more and stuff. Ah, what's that? Ink ribbon? Yes, please. Oh, hello. Aha, shotgun shells. Cool, cool, cool. And a map. So I still need to explore the other area which has got the liquor in it. And that dude ain't down, is he? No, he is. Of course it's locked. I think I haven't really gone back to the original Resident Evil since, I don't know, maybe 2007, 2006? As in a proper playthrough of them as such. Because we've had other games come out since, but even before the remakes came out, such as Dead Space. And good old EA killed that off, and then they brought it back with the remake, which was very successful from what I've heard. It's actually available on Game Pass at the moment, so I'm looking to hopefully install that at some point and give that a try, because it's a very good game. I guarantee this door is going to be locked up here. And I think like from the timeline for Resident Evil, I think the story is supposed to be Claire then Leon, if I'm understanding correctly. Of course it is, and that's where you would go in there to put the fire out for the helicopter, and then I'm not sure in the original game if it's because I presume this would be the A scenario, so I don't know if the Mr. X actually appears in this in that area like it does in the remake. I'm not quite sure. It's been so long since I've properly played through this, but I used to play this all the time. The thing that I did realise between this and the remake is that I prefer this version. The Raccoon City Police precinct in both versions is awesome, but I will say that I think the sewers areas is probably better in this, just because I don't know. There's just something I wasn't as enamoured with the remake. Or maybe it's easier. I don't know if that would be the right word to use. Oh, hello. dead. He's done. I'd love it if they, I might have said this before, but I'd love it if they did take the concept of the Resident Evil 2 remake and essentially do a complete, do a co-op version of Resident Evil 2 where you can both explore whatever the area may be in whatever Resident Evil game it would be, but you can basically either go together, stick together, or you can go separate directions and explore, like for instance the Raccoon City Police Department, and go and pick up different keys. And I just think it'd be quite interesting, but whether it's technically possible I'm not really sure, but it'd be really, really cool to see. Bugger, I've got too many herbs. And this game's not going to allow me. No, it's not. Right. I suspect that door is locked. Yep. And I think there's a licker in here, or in the other room next to it, to the right hand side, that bursts through the window. Yep. Right, so I need to go back to the chest and drop my stuff in the chest. It's the thing about Resident Evil, it's all of it, a lot of it is all about running back and forth, back through different areas, and item management. It's also interesting that Jill, when she explores these areas, they're still locked up, so you can't access this room in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. It's all boarded up still, so obviously at that point there's still people alive in the station as such. But I would definitely recommend any version of Resident Evil 2, other than the GameCube version, which I don't know why you'd want to play that on a, because I think it's black and white, if my understanding is correct, and but it's an impressive feat. There's a couple of games, like there's Resident Evil, is it Gaiden or Gaiden on the, no, no, I did that on the Game Boy. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. There's a few. There was a full. There was a company that actually did a full remake of Resident Evil 1 on Game Boy, and it was never finished and never completed. But I've seen a lot of videos on it. It's again, it's another fascinating project that sadly never got its chance to sort of be shown off too much. And the most fascinating one is going to have to be the one that was released, though, which would be Resident Evil Deadly Silence, which was just essentially a remake of Resident Evil 1 on the Nintendo DS. And it's another interesting game I'd love to try and get hold of at some point, because it's on a handheld, and it even had a co-op mode. It was a very interesting and different type of co-op mode, but running through the mansion in a form of co-op would be quite an interesting experience. Right, now I'm not sure whether the liquor's in either this room or the next room. I'm saying that it might not actually burst through yet, because I haven't actually come across the liquor yet. Nah. Right, so before I can actually go any further, I have to go to the room where you first meet the liquor. That's a shame. Is that a file I can read? No, it's not. pick up the red herb or run it quickly. Also, the soundtracks on these the first like 3 or 4 games, even though like when you hit Resident Evil 4, like I I have this slight distaste for RE4, only in that it changed it from survival horror to more like survival action. Uh, but again, my appreciation for RE4 has gone up the more I've played it, particularly the remake. The remake was absolutely stellar for Resident Evil 4. It's a lot of fun, and there are some survival horror aspects to it. It's just a little bit different. In well, it's just more refined than say the original Resident Evil 4. But the original Resident Evil 4 is still fantastic even now. I've got it on Series X. I've got it on GameCube, ironically. I've also got it on PS3 via a digital. There was a massive collection they sold. What about 10 years back or something? I bought that has all of them, even the not so good ones on it. Let's just mix these herbs quickly. And the presentation on this version definitely looks a little bit better, I would say. It's not amazing in any way at all, but it does look pretty good. Right, we will take that key. When you meet the Lickers in the RE2 remake, though, they have changed things around quite. Yes, yes, I will use the small key. They've changed things around quite a bit, so there's a and obviously this bit as well. There's really a lot more gory in the remake. Obviously, the way you find that's a really creepy angle. Now, there's actually a little error I've noticed in this game. Now, if you look to the right of me where the shutter box is, the shutter box is there in the gameplay segment of the game, but when you switch to the cutscene in a minute, it's not there. There you go, to your right hand side, it's not there. Now, this is outputting via the HD Prism adapter, which is running through HDMI. It's a digital out on the GameCube. Which gives you a much better image quality coming out of the GameCube generally anyway, because it's as far as my understanding, it's a digital out instead of a the AV out on the GameCube. I pretty much know a great deal of the station. I just know so much of it so well. It's just sort of ingrained in my mind. I played so many times that I played this on PS1. And when you play it in the remake as well, the horror is just elevated so much more because it's just so much more. It's just so much more terrifying and frightening. With obviously this bit, for instance, here in the remake, if you there's actually over here. There's actually a big hole in the wall. Like it's a different layout, so you can climb over the wall and. I need the lighter, don't I? If I'm just remembering correctly. It's such a It's such a B movie, Resident Evil, but that's what kind of makes it so much fun. I just don't understand how no one can make a decent film of it. I mean, it's so easy to do. It can't be that difficult to make a B movie of it, a proper decent B movie. Well, that's one of the jewels I think you put in the statue, if my memory is correct. And the soundtrack, I mean, there's two versions on the remake. You've got the normal soundtrack. Well, I don't think there's even actually. I think it's just ambient noise, and then you've got this soundtrack that's actually included with the. I think it's the deluxe edition, and it's really really good. Coming to my probably favorite part of the game, which is in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. This is let's just say the station is safer in it's safer in this version than it is in 3. The first time I played, I got the shock of my life when I come back down the stairs past the window. Oh god, I can't see shit. Excuse my language. Yeah, so without, well, sorry, I'm going to spoil it. Anyway, we go past this area in Nemesis, and as you come back down the stairs, the twat bursts through that window, and it's bloody terrifying. Got so many memories of playing this after school, especially after senior school and stuff. And in there, if you don't pick an ammo up and you can take out Brad Vickers, you will literally you'll get a special key so you can change your outfit. I don't know, there's just something about the old Resident Evil games. They as I said, the B movie generally anyway, so there's got such a good B movie sort of plot, and they they just I know a lot of people don't like tank controls and stuff, but I've personally never had an issue with tank controls. Sometimes, yeah, they can be a bit annoying if you get stuck in certain situations. And you can develop. I think there's a film of Rebecca you can develop in there as well, if I remember correctly. Still love the layout of the mansion in the first game as well. Both the remake and the original PS1 game just It's just something, and it's like, damn it, there's just something fascinating about it. Like the the mansion layout is just like it's been designed by, and if you read the books by SD, is it SD Spencer? They fill in a lot of the interesting facts about the game, and it's really really cool. Right now, if I remember correctly, it's been a few decades since I've done this. I would recommend though, if you've still got a PS3, if you can be, if you want to contend with a PS3 still, it's the one system I dislike on the PlayStation side the most, because it's such a pain in the ass to record anything from. The HDCP on it is just a nightmare. You can't turn it off. Bypassing it is not as easy as people make it out to be. I've watched numerous videos. Yeah, just get a splitter. Yeah, it doesn't work a lot of the time getting a HDMI splitter, because I've bought two of them and I've had the same issues all the time. But that is one that is a good. There's a decent version you can pick up on PS3, and it's dirt cheap. It's like, I don't know, £7 or £8, something like that. I'd love a obviously I would have loved a physical version on the PS1, but and that is probably the cheapest. I just cocked it up. Oh, crap. Great. And go back through there again. That was fantastic. I think I prefer Chief Irons in this version more than the remake version, though, just due to the fact that um, you get to see a bit more of Irons. You see Irons in, like, although they do add a new area, which is the orphanage in the remake. And the Stars office is a bit more precarious to get to in the remake, due to the fact there's a liquor literally outside it. And this is the place that Carlos contacts Jill in this area, if I remember correctly. No. And also the shotgun is absolutely amazing in this game. When you upgrade it,
you're still among the living. It looks like we're not gonna find your brother here after all. There's no reason for us to stay any longer than necessary. Let's split up, look for any survivors, and get out of here.
Right.
One last thing. Here's a radio. Take it. That way we can keep in touch if anything happens.
Oh, this brings back so many memories. Nostalgia can be a good thing, it can also be a bad thing. This is it. If you search this desk like 50 times or something, you get a load of pictures of Rebecca in some sportswear or something, if I remember correctly. I'm not going to do that because I'll be here all night. And this would be the desk of Albert Wesker. And this picture's actually in the Resident Evil 2 remake as well. So Brad Vickers on Dead, Barry Burton, Albert Wesker. I think the other team is the Alpha team, so they're all essentially dead. And Joseph there on the right, he's obviously gets capped off at the beginning by the dogs. That first intro to that first game is amazing. It's so cheesy, but so much fun.
I can't believe what is happening to this city.
Oh, I know where that goes. The unicorn medal goes in the statue in the main desk area. I mean, if you like the remake of Resident Evil 2, I think you really should play the original, because the original is the basis of that remake in every way, really. And other than from a graphic standpoint, and obviously some of the mechanics are a little bit way more updated in the remake, and the zombies are generally way more of a threat, I would say, in the remake. This is still a fantastic game, and it's just a joy that it's still, to me anyway, it still holds up very, very well. We'll go there, then we'll come back. As I said, I've not really, since I bought this, I've on off eBay, I think it was last year, I've not really put any time in with it at all. And yeah, that's really, really cool. Get off me, please. Again, the remake replaces that with like windows and stuff, so you can actually, it gives you like boards, wooden boards, so you can actually board the windows up so they can't come in and stuff. I didn't see that. Oh, god. I'll come back for it. I might do a full playthrough of this at some point. I wouldn't mind testing this with the OSSC as well, because it's such a good scaler. It's even though it runs off the SCART lead, GameCubes in well, in the UK at least, they run off SCART. It was quite a popular connector for our TVs. And in fact, I would imagine this is probably a 50 hertz game as well. I'm not sure. It doesn't say 60 on the actual thing. This is the generation when they started introducing 60 hertz. People in North America and places like that don't know the pain we suffered. There was a lot of games ran at 50 hertz in the PAL region, which hell, even Konami's collection, the Metal Gear collection, runs at 50 hertz, which is like what the hell? Like, that doesn't make any real sense, really, considering you can run most games all run at the same speeds now anyway, but apparently there's a lot of people in North America can't stand the 50 hertz speed in Tekken, Metal Gear Solid, in a lot of games. It doesn't really bother me. It's what we had at the time. Same as Australia, I believe, as well. But I'm very curious about the. I've said it many times. I've got Jelly Power Battles on PS1, but the Dreamcast version looks so good. It just looks so clear. Graphics look so much nicer. I don't know if it's still a glitch fest like Jedi Power Battles is, because it is generally a glitch fest anyway. What we'll do is we will quickly save the game. Have a chat with Marvin. I think this is when he turns. It takes a bit longer to turn in the remake, if I'm remembering correctly. Oh no, it's not. Right, so it's the wrong key. Right, well I guess I can't watch him turn tonight. I will have to do it another night. I'm going to leave it there anyway. So that was part 1 of Resident Evil 2 on GameCube. I might do a couple of parts to this video just for the sake of it, or I'll stream it, but it's so good.